Hello again in this installment of Spiritual Wisdom. Welcome back, my wise followers. Today we're going to be talking about family expectations, and I'm just so grateful to all of you follow me here to have this little community as well. And if any of you watching the channel are new here, my name is Nicholas, and on my channel I talk about witchcraft, Wicca, paganism, self-love and all manner of spiritual topics. So today's video falls under family expectations. Now, expectations put onto you by anyone outside of yourself are not healthy. And I've said that self-expectations can be a healthy thing, but that depends as well. But I would say when it comes to ourselves, because people put expectations on themselves but don't come from outside influences, sometimes it's better to honour your beliefs and values in life rather than live up to anyone else's expectations, including your own. I would really say that. But a lot of people are lucky. I would say I'm lucky, and I know a lot of people are lucky because their family love them for who they are. They take that time to get to know their son or daughter, children. As a parent or guardian, they take the time to get to know their child for who they are and create that bond with their child, get to know what their child's personality is like, what their child likes and dislikes, what type of person they are, and what beliefs and values that individual has, and they love their individual child, which is all well and good. But on the other hand, there's lots of individuals, some of you watching this may have experienced this, or you may have friends that have went through this, where their parents don't love them for who they are. They don't take that time as a parent or guardian to get to know their child for who they are. They don't get to take that time to get to know their son or daughter for who they are as a person, what type of personality have they got, what things do they like and dislike, what are their beliefs and values. They expect their children to live up to certain expectations, standards that cause suffering. And in a lot of cases, like, you get very strict religious families, and the religion itself is not the problem. It's those who follow the religion and the way they follow it. And 9 times out of 10, it's the way the family or the people that faith follow it. The way they follow it even goes against their faith or tradition as well. And sometimes religion has a part to play in the strict family dynamic. Other parts it doesn't. It just depends. But an example of this, there was a documentary I was watching that inspired this video, and this is a drastic form of family expectations, where there was a young girl called Aisha, I believe her name was. So her name was Aisha, if my memory serves me well. I believe that was her name. She was brought up into a Muslim family, but her mother was originally from Pakistan. Her mother was brought up with these strict sort of the way a woman should act and behave type of ideas, and then her mother emigrated to Britain. Her father, for example, he had a taste of Western life. He even married a woman who wasn't Muslim. He had a child to this woman. He was very happy and he tasted the Western life. But then when he went to Pakistan, his family expectations were forced on him, and he was forced to marry his second cousin. And she was promised to him and he was expected to marry her, and he could have said no, but he felt forced and he did marry her. And then they moved to the west, to this country, and they had children together. But one of their children got used to Western life. She dressed Western, wore makeup, she had dreams of becoming a lawyer, and she loved school, she loved learning, and she wanted to become a lawyer. And nothing wrong with that. But, she felt so trapped in her life because her mother wanted to wear Asian clothing, not wear makeup. She wasn't allowed any, not even like just her parents wouldn't want her to have any boyfriends in the sense, just a boy as a friend, because they would read too much into it as well. And she felt so trapped in her life as well, and they expected her to live the life they were used to in Pakistan. They expected her to live that life, which was an unrealistic expectation, because if you're living in the West, you're exposed to the Western way of doing things, then it's quite hard to maintain that tradition. But the sad thing is, because I was watching this crime investigation documentary with my mum, like when she was around about age 16, they drugged her, the parents, and tried to take her to Pakistan. She woke to this man she was meant to marry, and then she woke out of that drunk, sort of encoast, being coma basically. She woke out of it, and then she drunk because she was that depressed, and she didn't want to marry this man because she was expected to marry a man she didn't love. She drank a bottle of bleach, and then she was that ill, not well. She was in hospital, and her parents didn't really care that much. They weren't that attentive. And then at some point when she was well back on her feet, she was lucky to be alive. They done an honour killing. They holded her down, killed her. So it ended very drastically. But that's just one form of it, family expectations. Another form would be, let's say there's a child, for example, and it's not always Muslim, it can happen in any religion, any family dynamic, but there could be a man who's born into like a Jewish Muslim family, and he's expected to marry a woman. He doesn't love this woman, and he also he's not attracted to the opposite sex, and he's expected to marry this woman and live up to a certain standard, a certain expectation. And well, 9 times out of 10, arranged marriages do not work out. They don't, because that's not how love psychologically works, or relationships psychologically work. And he's got to live a lie which causes her suffering as well as him suffering. And that's what expectations do. So many people are born into very strict religious families, or just very strict traditional family values are put onto them. And yes, as a parent or guardian, it's great to you have that expectation. But if you have children of your own, you hope that they'll get married one day or meet a partner and have children of their own. That's great if that happens and you're a grandparent, grandmother, but life doesn't always work out that way. When a lot of people say, I've heard people say that their dream would be to be a grandmother or grandparent, but then that dream relies on someone else. And dreams like that, if you've got a dream that relies on someone else doing something, that's not a healthy dream. It's great if it happens for you, but it is quite an unhealthy dream. And there's people that have a close bond with their mother, but it's not a healthy close bond. And that could be a son, daughter, and they try and please their mother, but no matter what they do, it'll never please them. Same with some women are closer to their father than their mother. Some men are very close to their fathers, but they try and please their father, but no matter what they do, it's never good enough. Never. And it never will be. And there's some people where they feel like their parents want them to get, they're gay, for example. They know their family wouldn't accept that. They'd be an outcast. So they force themselves to live a lie, which is very harmful. And then they think if they get married, like if it's a man who's gay, think if they get married to a woman, have children, well, their family will be pleased with them. But the truth is, the family will be pleased with them for a time, and the family might take a role in looking after those grandchildren. But in the long run, you as an individual have denied yourself, you're living a lie, and that only leads to tremendous suffering. And trying to please others is never a good thing. You should never try and people please. And I understand that because of being a people pleaser, you should never try and please others. And you should never try and live up to expectations of others, because it's unhealthy. And self-love teaches you that. Self-love teaches you to get to know yourself, get to know who you truly are as a person, get to know what your strengths are, what you're good at, what your qualities. Get to be kind and humble with yourself, get to know what your flaws and weaknesses are, and still love yourself. And a good affirmation for that is, I accept my flaws, I love myself, flaws and all. And that's the way you've got to be. And a big part of self-love is not necessarily putting expectations on yourself or living up to anyone else's expectations. It's just finding out what your beliefs and values are and honouring your beliefs and values, and also finding out what your goals and dreams are and honouring them and taking the action that's needed to make those dreams and goals a reality. And I suppose the message in this video would be, because the message is always the most important thing, do not live up to society's expectations of you, and do not live up to family expectations, and do not try and please your family. Yes, there's a difference between wanting to please family at the goodness of your heart. That's good. But do not try and please family by living up to family expectations. And a big self-love isn't easy, and I'll talk about that in a later video, because a big part of self-love is letting go of toxic people and toxic habits and things, which isn't easy. And sometimes you've got to let go of family. Sometimes with self-love you can feel so isolated, because when you don't love yourself, you create toxic friendships. You create toxic friendships because you settle for less than you deserve. And you think in your head it's better to have some friend than have no friend. That's not true. It's better to have no friend. If those friends are toxic, negative, bringing you down, get rid of them. And it's the same with family. Even though you've got a bond, a connection with them, you've got to say, is that a happy relationship? Is that a happy connection? Because if they're forcing you to be something you're not, and expecting you to live a life that's not true to yourself, that's not a happy family relationship. And that's a relationship you need to do some cord cutting there, cut the ties metaphorically and perhaps spiritually, because it's unhealthy that to live up to family expectations. And another form of that is sometimes as a young woman, you might feel like having long hair, short hair, dressing a certain way makes you confident. And a big part of self-love is doing what makes you feel confident. Same if you're a man, your parents might think you suit shorter hair, but if you want to grow long hair and that makes you confident, go ahead. And same with dress. Your parents may expect you to dress a certain way, but you should dress the way it makes you confident. And nothing good comes out of trying to please your family by living up to their expectations. And that's not a good thing to do. And don't live up to family or societal expectations. As always, have a great and amazing day. May part meet again. Blessed be.